anything you have over that, you will get taxed on. You'll get taxed on the money you've got in the bank. You'll get taxed on a property that you might be renting out, because at some point you may decide you need, want, or have to go back to live in the UK. And any investments you'll be taxed on.
Now people watch, I mean, it's part of my job to ask the questions that the people behind the camera are thinking, and they'll think, well, but surely you knew this when you came out to Thailand.
Yes, we did know it. As far as my husband and I are concerned, we have family out here. We have a son, we have grandchildren who live here, but we also have sons and a daughter who aren't living here, so we would like to be able to see them. We can't afford flights home because our money has been cut so drastically.
And of course the economy's changed somewhat, which isn't necessarily the British government's fault, but there was many people saying that when they came here it was over 70 baht to the pound and they were getting 5% on their savings. That has all changed, of course, so maybe that's why people are starting to focus on this a little bit more.
Yes, when we first came out here, the exchange rate was good enough for us to be able to live here and to live a very nice, comfortable life that there's no way we could live if we were back in the UK. Unfortunately, because of the exchange rate, things have changed drastically.
Okay. So, where do we go from here then? So you're going to join this consortium,
yes,
which will give you, if you like, more of a global voice.
Yes.
Right? And then what else do you hope to achieve? I mean, as we've been talking, your website's on the screen. So this is, you are building a force. And you said to me just before we started, I mean, we had a lot of people here today. You were expecting maybe 20 people, and we had over 50, 60 people, which is great.
Yes. Yes, it's very encouraging, and we hope that everyone will visit our website and come up with some good suggestions if you have them, and then we can act on those. And we'd also try very hard to get somebody back in the UK to help us.
Okay, now when you're saying that, do you mean a political figure or someone who's famous, or what do you mean?
We'd like somebody famous who will help fight our cause. We have approached 2, maybe 3 people, but we haven't had a response as of yet. We'd also like to try and get an MP or more involved in our cause.
So what would happen if you just said, well, let's move back to the UK for 3 months, and then you go back and you settle there for 3 months, go and see your family, and then you get your pension would be then indexed, and then you think, right, now time to go back to, I mean, I know it would be like a loophole. Does that work, or is that not a feasible system?
We could do that if we had somewhere to live in the UK, but we had to give up our home in the UK so we could afford to come and live here. We had to get property here, otherwise where would we live? Or else you have to put your money into renting a property here. So as far as we're concerned, no, we haven't got anywhere to live in the UK. We don't use the NHS for anything, but of course if we went back for 3 months, well, then yes, we'd have to index link our pensions to get the full money, and we'd get all our medication in England rather than having to pay for it ourselves.
Sure, that's it, your medical, your dental, your eye care.
Yes, and then the British taxpayer would have to pay that for us. We've taken that away from them by choosing to live here.
Okay. Now there was an interesting piece in part of the literature that's been given out today about David Cameron, the British Prime Minister, congratulating the British troops in Afghanistan for their job well done, and somebody had written, but he should also tell them that when they retire they should have a good think about where they're going to retire to, because if it's outside of the UK or outside of the countries that we're talking about, where there's no reciprocal agreement, then they wouldn't, even if they have served and killed or maybe even lost limbs or friends for their country, they wouldn't receive this extra pension. It's a terrible state of affairs, isn't it?
It just isn't fair. We're being discriminated against.
Okay. Well, there you go. I think we're going to wind it up here, but as Judith says, the website's been on the screen. You can click on that because, it's very easy to live here and you think, well, everything's fine, but the economy is changing, the world is changing. Perhaps if you join the cause, this voice can get bigger and bigger, and who knows, you may just need someone at the British end of the government to listen to it and make a change. Okay, this is Paul and Judith saying goodbye. Bye-bye.